जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी प्रभुपाद 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 जय प्रभुपाद नीताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल गौर हरि बोल जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 1, Text number 18. पूरेषु पुण्योपवनाद्रिकुञ्जेषु अपाङ्कतोयेषु शरेत्सरासु अनन्तलिङ्गै समलाङ्कृतेषु चचार्यतीर्थयतनेष्वनन्या पूरेषु पुण्योपवनाद्रिकुञ्जेष्व अपङ्कतोयेषु शरित्सरस्सु अनन्तलिङ्गै समलाङ्कृतेषु चचारतीर्थयतनेष्वनन्या पूरेषु पुण्योपवनाद्रिकुञ्जेष्व अपङ्कतोयेषु शरित्सरसो अनन्तलिङ्गै समलाङ्कृतेषु चचारतीर्थयतनेष्वनन्या पूरेषु पुण्योपवनाद्रिकुञ्जेष्व अपङ्कतोयेषु शरित्सरसु अनन्तलिङ्गै समलङ्कृतेषु यतनेष्वनन्या. Pureshu, holy places like Ayodhya, Dwarka and Mathura. Punya, piety. Upavana, the air. Adri, hill. Kunjeshu, in the orchards. Apanka, without sin. Toyeshu, in the water. Sarit, river. Sarassu, lakes. Anantalingai, the forms of the unlimited. Samalankriteshu, being so decorated. Chachara, executed. Tirtha, places of pilgrimage. Ayanateshu, holy lands. Ananya, alone or seeing Krishna alone. Translation. He began to travel alone, thinking only of Krishna, through various holy places like Ayodhya, Dwarka and Mathura. He traveled where the air, hill, orchard, river and lake are all pure and sinless, and where the forms of the unlimited decorate the temples. Thus he performed the pilgrim's progress. Purport. These Arca forms of the Lord may be considered idols by the atheists, but that does not matter for persons like Vidura or his many other servants. The forms of the Lord are mentioned here as Ananta Linga. Such forms of the Lord have unlimited potency, the same as that of the Lord himself. There is no difference between the potencies of the Arca and those of the personal forms of the Lord. The example of the post box and post office may be applied here. The little post boxes distributed all over the city have the same potency as the postal system in general. The duty of the post office is to carry letters from one place to another. If one puts letters in post boxes authorized by the General Post Office, the function of carrying letters is performed without a doubt. Similarly, the Archa Murti can also deliver the same unlimited potency of the Lord as when he is personally present. Vidura therefore could see nothing but Krishna in the different Archa forms, and ultimately he was able to realize Krishna alone and nothing else. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Dadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna, we welcome you all to the daily Srimad Bhagavatam class. Wishing all of you a very Shubha Deepavali on this most auspicious day. So today we will be discussing from the third canto, first chapter, text number 18. The discussion here is Vidura is visiting various holy places. All our devotees, around 9,000 to 10,000 devotees, are right now in the traveling. Actually, they are also traveling in different modes of transport today, reaching Mayapur Dham, and there will be a most auspicious Kartik Yatra commencing from tomorrow. So our purport and our text also is more or less, Vidura is also going to various holy places. And the theme for today's discussion, based on the purport that we have been given today, is Arca Vigraha Seva. So, what is the hot topic that you find when it comes to spiritual circles? Whenever there is religion or spirituality associated, there are two parts. One is the theists and the other is the atheists. So always there is a debate as to the existence of God. Does God exist? This is something that is a perennial and eternal debate which is going on for ages and will continue to also exist in the future. So we see that they keep fighting tooth and nail about this topic. In India, we celebrate deity worship with so many occasions and so many festivals, just like today we are celebrating Deepavali. And today is the most auspicious occasion of Lakshmi Puja. Some weeks back, we celebrated Durga Puja. A few days back, we celebrated Dhanvantri Puja. And then in a few days, there will be the worshipping of the sun in Bihar. In central India, they have Chhat Puja. Also, today on the occasion of Deepavali, we have Lord Ram returning to Ayodhya. Lord Ram is being worshipped. We had the celebration of Dasara in this past month. So we see there is so many celebrations of festivals that we have in India. And today, we also will worship Lord Krishna in the form of Damodar, which is also very pertinent to the day today. So we see that Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, he said that if one does not have hope, then he is as good as an atheist. That means if you have hope, you at least have some, when you have hope about something, you are hopeful in your life that I can achieve this, I can plan this. So then you have the tendency to cultivate faith to worship God. That is one of the prerequisites for anyone who is wanting to become a sadhaka or a devotee of the Lord. This is something that Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj has said. Also, one devotee who I was speaking to, he mentioned one time that the Mahatmyas and the Phalastruti that are given in all the chapters are so important and so nice. So he was telling me that when he gives the class, before he gives the class, he actually begins with the Phalashruti. Or if you have Gita Mahatmya, Bhagavat Mahatmya. So one speaker was telling it is so nice to actually read the Mahatmya before the actual text and the chapter. Why? Two things, that first of all, you know what you are doing, why you are doing. And you also get to know the benefits of what you are going to practice. Suppose there is Kartik Mas, so why are we offering lamps? Why are we coming to the temple? What do we get by coming to the temple in this holy month of Kartik? So if one prays to the Lord certain prayers, just reciting some Sanskrit prayers will definitely have the benefit. But when you understand the meaning behind what you are reciting, what you are speaking, what you are practicing, what rituals we are doing, so it will be so much more nice for us when we actually understand the purpose behind the act that we are doing. If you go and if someone wants to understand, does God exist, or if they want to discuss topics about spirituality and topics that pertain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead or any other personality, you don't go to the tea stall and discuss these topics. Even you go to the tea stall, people have their opinion. Every taxi wala also will have his own version of Gita and own version of Bhagavad. But then if you want bona fide authorized knowledge, then you come to the temple and you inquire about spiritual knowledge. So it is mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Tarko Pratishtha Shrutayo Vibhinna. So Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be conquered or known by any kind of dry logic. And a great personality might have an opinion, but in this world it is such that if it's not something really different, then people consider this I have heard. So that person's maybe he's also not respected that much. So then how do we understand? Who do we go to? It is said that Mahajano Yena Gatas Sapanta. So great sages and realized souls, we need to follow their footsteps, and then we understand how do we practice this path of spirituality. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also says, Bhaktya Mam Abhijanati. So it is only by performing bhakti that one can understand me. So let us now discuss something about the Archa Vigraha Seva and worship, which is the theme of discussion for our subject today. First of all, we'll see what is the need for deity worship. There are three particular reasons that we have noted down. The first one is Krishna himself says in the Bhagavad Gita, and he gives the need for deity worship. There is one particular shloka in the Bhagavad Gita which comes twice. Man manabhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. So in this verse, Krishna himself, what does he say? He says, always think of me. He says, become my devotee. Then he says, worship me. Offer homage unto me. And thus, if you do all these things, you will surely come to me without fail. So here, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it was of course spoken to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, but that knowledge was for us who are living today and for generations who will come henceforth. The Supreme Lord gave these instructions 5,000 years back, but it is very much pertinent and applicable to all of us today. So this is the first reason. Let us see, there are 5 manifestations in which the Archa Vigraha incarnates, or the Supreme Lord incarnates in this world. The first one is called Para. In this form, the Lord incarnates. What is this form? This is the original manifestation of the Lord, that form where you get in Golok Vrindavan. So if we want to worship the Para form of the Lord, is that possible? No, because we cannot reciprocate with the Lord who is in Golok Vrindavan, because we are not on that level. So Acharyas say this particular form of the Lord is compared to the ocean water. Just like water is there in the ocean, you are there in the middle of the ocean, there is water everywhere, we are living on touching the ocean, but then is this water useful to us? No, it is full of salt, it cannot be used for bathing, cooking. So this form of the Lord is not accessible to all of us. So then the second form of the Lord, where he manifests, is called as Vyuha. So this is the Chaturvyuha form of the Lord in Vaikuntha, where it is Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Niruddha and Vasudev. This form is compared to waters in the cloud. Now imagine there are clouds and then there is water inside the clouds. if we want to use that water for our existence, is this accessible to us? No, we cannot access that water in the cloud and use it in our house. So even this form of the Lord, the Vyuha form of the Lord, we might not be able to worship. The third form of the Lord in which he manifests is Vaibhava. Now this form of the Lord is the incarnations of the Lord as Rama, Narsimha, Varaha, Kurma, and Matsya, and so on and so forth. So definitely these forms of the Lord were accessible, but only to those people who were present during the incarnations exhibited by the Lord. So this Vaibhav form is compared to water flowing in the river. Now, water flowing in the river is also accessible partially to those who stay on the bank of the water. They can go and do their daily rituals, accessing the water in the river. But then people staying in cities might not be placed, those who are staying 10 kilometers away. It's not actually practical for someone to go fetch water on a daily basis. So this form of the Lord is partially accessible. Now the fourth form in which the Lord manifests is called as the Paramatma form. That means the Lord which is present within all of us, everyone's heart. So the Lord also manifests in this form, who is known as Paramatma. Now this is compared to the groundwater, well water. So in a way it is also very difficult. You have to have lot of endeavor in order. First of all, you need to do a Reiki of the place, whether water is there, then have so much of boring, after tunneling, and then you get water if you are fortunate. So in the Bhagavatam, in the 4th canto, there is a wonderful example of Dhruva Maharaj. The story goes that he went to the forest in search of God when he was angry with his stepmother. So then this I am just telling from the point of view of how difficult it is to do tapasya or to control our senses. We all know it is said that if you tell your mind, don't think of the red monkey, definitely the next 10 minutes red monkey will come to our mind. So it's very, very difficult to have control and do tap and sense control. So Dhruva Maharaj in the first month, when he was doing tapasya, every once in 3 days, what did he live on? Roots and fruits. In the second month, Dhruva Maharaj had grass and leaves, and now that what did he take part in? Once in 6 days he had grass or leaves. Going further in the third month, he just survived on water, and that too, he had water once in 9 days. Now, this is not all. In the fourth month, he even stopped intaking water. What did he do? He was just breathing air, and that too once every 12 days. Now, during all these things, with the sheer might in which his tapasya was, there was a lot of heat generated, and the upper planetary systems and denizens in the heavenly planets were feeling the heat of the tapasya of Dhruva Maharaj. And in the fifth month, he stands on one leg and then controlled his breathing completely. After that, with the tip of his toe of the thumb, he just pressed the earth, and then with the sheer dent of the tapasya, the power that he generated, the ground actually sunk in. Now this was too much for the Devatas, who went to Lord Vishnu, who then mercifully came down as Narayan and gave blessings to Dhruva Maharaj. So, case in point, why am I telling this story? This is just to give us an idea about if you want to achieve the Lord, just as Dhruva Maharaj prayed to the Paramatma within his heart, it is nothing short of this tapasya that you and me have to do. So if we want to have and restrain our senses from controlling eating sweets, that itself might be a challenge for us. So all these things are far out. So this also is not that easily accessible to the living entity. So 4 manifestations in which the Lord occurs seem to be non-accessible or very partially accessible to us. So the question comes then, how are you and me supposed to reciprocate with the Lord? So the Lord mercifully incarnates in his most merciful form as the Arca vigraha, we have Archa Vigrahas in our altar, where we can very easily and nicely reciprocate with the Supreme Personality of Godhead on a daily basis. So it is said that accessibility of the Lord is all pervading, all present. Just like in the body of cow, milk is all pervading. The entire body of cow, milk is permeating all through the body of the cow. Now, if we want to access the milk, we have to access the milk through the udder of the cow. Similarly, if you need to watch a television program or something which comes on the television, you directly cannot intercept the satellite. You need a set-top box or some via medium through which your mobile phones, you can only access through the satellite. That's the technology. But if you want to reciprocate, then you have to have your mobile phones or television set. Not that we are advising that someone watches the television, but similarly here we see that the Supreme Lord is most mercifully, munificently incarnating in the forms of Archa, and we can take that advantage by coming daily, taking darshan, offering flowers, paying obeisances, taking his charanamrit, his shatari on our head. So these are very simple ways. Come and offer prayers, stand in front of the Lord, do services which are related to him, and in this way you will be blessed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is the second reason why the Lord incarnates, accessibility to the Lord. And the third reason why the Lord incarnates is degradation with time. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 7th canto, the conversation between Narad Muni and Yudhishthir Maharaj, Narad Muni tells Yudhishthir Maharaj that he tells, when great sages and saintly persons saw mutually disrespectful dealings starting in the end of Satya Yuga and the beginning of Treta Yuga, that is when they decided to install deities in the temple, and organized deity worship began at the end of Satya Yuga, in the beginning of Treta Yuga, when they saw dealings between individuals started becoming disrespectful. So this is the origin of installed deity worship, which is given in the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. In the purport itself, we have the analogy of the post box and the post office, just like something is authorized by the post office. So if you go and put your letters in the post box, sure enough, there will be a postman to come and collect it and reach it to the perfect destination that it is supposed to. But if you put it in some other random box, it's not going to be. So similarly, some people can say, Lord is everywhere, Bhagwan to sarvavyapi hai, sab jagah hai, mandir mein aane ki kya avashyakta hai? Because you and me cannot access the Lord without getting a form of the Lord. You and me, we just discussed how the Lord is accessible in those 4 forms and how they are not accessible to all of us, and it is so difficult to access. So that is why the Lord is mercifully incarnating as the Supreme Personality in the form of Archa Vigraha. There is also a particular instance in the Srimad Bhagavatam where the Supreme Lord Krishna is the lifter of Govardhan hill, and once after he finishes his daily pastimes, then Krishna and his cowherd boys, they return home, and during this time it is given in the Srimad Bhagavatam that there is a beautiful scene. Krishna and all the cows and his friends are returning after grazing the cows, and at that particular time all the Vrajvasis of Vrindavan, they line up, and it is a sight to behold. It is said that his garland is powdered by the dust raised by the hooves, that is the feet of the calves and the cow, and then that sheer fatigue or little tiredness on the face of Krishna, how does it make him look? It enhances his looks, and it creates an ecstatic festival kind of atmosphere. Krishna returning from grazing the cows daily is mentioned and was practiced by Brajvasis, who used to line up on both sides of the road and just watch Krishna and his friends returning. And that means daily coming at 7:45, standing before the Lord, taking darshan of the Lord can be a festival. So we don't need reasons to have festivals. We can have festivals daily. When the conch blows, the Bhagavatam says, darshan of the Lord is nothing but a festival for the eyes of devotees. Also, we have the famous Sakshi Gopal story. Now, in this particular instance, in short, there were two Brahmanas, one old Brahmana and the young Brahmana. And they went on a Tirth Yatra to Prayag, Gaya, Varanasi, and then finally to Vrindavan. And then the old Brahmana was served throughout the Yatra by this young Brahmana. At one point in Vrindavan, when they took the darshan of Sakshi Gopal, this Brahmana was very satisfied. After that, he said, I am so happy with you. I want to reciprocate with you. I will give my daughter in marriage to you. So this young Brahmana says, I am from a lower caste, you are from a higher caste. Then he says, no, I am sure I am going to give my daughter to you. So he says, then okay, in front of the Lord, you can promise that you are giving your daughter to me, which he does. Then after the yatra, when they go back to their respective homes, when he narrates this to his family, they are of course not in tandem with this particular pledge that this Brahmana has done. So anyways, but this Brahmana was a very pious, God-fearing person. He didn't want to speak lies. So then on the suggestion of his son, when this younger Brahmana comes, he pretends that he doesn't say that I have not told you anything. He just says, I don't remember anything clearly about what I said. So then this young Brahmana, he calls the villagers and then says that the Lord himself was Sakshi. So here the son says, then bring the Lord. Then he goes all the way back to Vrindavan, talks to the Lord, and the Lord says, I am standing in my Arca form. How can I come there to, Vidyanagar? So then this person says, I don't know anything. You have to come. If you incarnate there, they will not have faith. You have to come in the same form there. So then the Lord says, okay, you walk ahead and I will follow you. All you need to do is every day cook 1 kilo of rice and offer me. And if you look back, then I will stop there. So then he agrees to it, and daily this person started walking, and then he could recognize the Lord moving behind him by the tinkling sound of the bells of payal or anklets that the Lord was wearing. And once he reached Vidyanagar, then he turned back and he saw Sakshi Gopal standing there, and then the Lord froze there. Then he goes and brings the old Brahmana's family who come there, the villages assemble, and then when the Lord comes there in this manifested form of Gopal where he was in Vrindavan, then the younger Brahmana gets the daughter in marriage. So this story elicits that if you have faith, what type of faith this younger Brahmana had on the Supreme Lord. Many times the Lord is present. Just like one time, some decades back, there was this instance that Ganesh ji started drinking milk. So in all temples across the city, people started feeding milk to Ganesh ji. So in our temple also, many brahmacharis, we also have our Ganesh ji near the entrance. So there also, brahmacharis came and they were feeding milk. And then His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj also was taking his rounds. So he came and he was amused and perplexed by seeing what are they doing. So then when Maharaj came and he was there, so he was told that Maharaj, Ganesh ji is drinking milk. We are also trying to offer milk. So then Maharaj, he just gave a simple reaction and then he said, what is special in that? Radha Gopinath on the altar also daily drink milk. So basically he was teaching us and he was showing by his example that we need to cultivate faith, that it is nothing surprising when you see certain things or when you hear certain things. Right in front we are offering 6 bhogas, 6 artis. The Lord is not only taking milk. In the morning the Lord has the capacity to digest rasgullas, rasmalai, sandesh, barfi, sweet rice, peda. Who can digest all these things early in the morning when he wakes up from his bed? So we should have faith. And if you have faith, as Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj said, then there is hope that you can cultivate devotion in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So today, not only Lord Ram returned to Ayodhya, like today we have this Guinness Book of World Records in Ayodhya, where maybe 27 lakh diyas are being lit to celebrate and commemorate this festival of Deepavali. So similarly, one more thing happened which is pertinent with Krishna. So on this particular day, what happened? We come morning and evening in the temple and offer lambs to Yashoda Damodar. So this particular pastime actually happened on the day of Deepavali in the spiritual world. The binding of Krishna, 2-finger short Leela, this happened today, right today. This is the day on which this Leela happened. And in memory of this Leela, we celebrated for this entire month by offering lambs and worshipping Yashoda Damodar in their most magnificent forms. So this Leela has two aspects to it. We all have heard numerous narrations of Krishna being tied by rope. So he is called by the famous name Damodar. So now Damodar has this one famous meaning. Dam means ropes and Udar means belly. So one who is bound by ropes of love, affection and devotion. So that is one meaning of Damodar. And there is another part to this Leela, which we will come in the second part, that is liberation of Nalakuver and Manigriv. So Krishna is unlimited. We cannot actually tie Krishna with ropes, 2 fingers too short. So then how do we tie? When we actually exhibit our endeavor and some sort of faith is there, we have determination, and then Krishna's grace. Only to Krishna's grace can we tie Krishna. So bhakti brings out the innermost devotion, and Krishna is very expert in bringing out. All we need to do is endeavor to practice bhakti. So there was this one story. One time there was one child, somehow or the other while playing, accidentally, a coin, 1 rupee coin went in the mouth of the child. And the mother became very, very tensed. She lifted the child and was trying to remove this coin from the mouth of the child. And then running, she was going in the building. She found one person, the neighbor, who immediately took hold of the child, took him upside down, and then gave a nice big pat on the back of the child. And lo and behold, the coin falls from the mouth of this child. So then this mother was very grateful and thankful to this person, and she thanked him profusely, and she told, how did you do this? How did you know that the coin can be removed like this? So then the person says, actually I am an income tax officer by profession, so I know very expertly how to take out and where money is hidden. I completely know how I can search for the money and where I can remove money from. So this particular story is having a significance in our life. We can understand that similarly, like the income tax officer who knows even when the coin is hidden in the mouth of the child, he knows how to remove. So Krishna is also very, very intelligent. Krishna is very intelligent to take out the rasa from the devotees. He is Rasraj. So all we need to do is endeavor to practice bhakti. If you take one step, Krishna will take 10 steps towards you. So all we need to do is, whatever you do, wake up in the morning, chant your 16 rounds, do some puja, have faith in the Lord, remember Krishna always, never forget Him. Very easy to practice devotional service. And if you continue doing these simple things, one fine day, you will definitely achieve the mercy of Krishna. That is His prerogative, that is not our prerogative. There is another thing that happened on this day. I will just narrate 1 or 2 instances from the Damodar Leela which has significant commentaries from the Acharyas. So Mother Yashoda, it is said that she left baby Krishna on the floor and then she goes running to attend to the milk which was boiling on the stove. And Krishna gets very angry. So one might perceive that why is Mother Yashoda leaving Krishna and going to attend to the milk? So Acharyas give a commentary on this, that Mother Yashoda went to attend to the milk. That is also service for Krishna, because that was the Padmagandha milk, and that milk was very special, made out of very, very special cows, and that was made for the pleasure of Krishna. So what can we learn from this particular pastime? Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that it is, you might never find a horse who has one black ear and another white ear. So this Padmagandha milk was something compared to this rare horse whose one ear is black and one ear is white. And why was Mother Yashoda running for this milk? For the pleasure of baby Krishna, to nourish baby Krishna. So we learn from this pastime that Krishna's service is non-different than Krishna himself. It is as equal or not less important to Krishna himself. Sometimes activities like brooming the temple or washing the vessels or cooking for Krishna, boiling the milk for Krishna, all these simple activities that we do accrue the same benefit as someone who's worshipping the Lord in the altar. It is said that a pujari worshipping the Lord in the altar might be doing arti, but if you are standing in the temple hall and with devotion and sincerity praying to the Lord, you might, the consciousness of the person, it depends on the consciousness of the person, you might end up getting more benefit than the pujari who is worshipping in the altar. So this pastime indicates to us that seva of the Lord is equally important to the Lord himself. And then there is one more thing. When Mother Yashoda chases Krishna, if we are also steadfast in determination to chase Krishna in devotional service, then what happens? The flowers from Yashoda's head started falling one by one. So Jeev Goswami says, these flowers falling when Mother Yashoda chased Krishna indicate that when a devotee who is steadfast in determination in chasing the lotus feet of Krishna, one by one, like the flowers, our anarthas start leaving us and they also start falling. Then there is another little thing which comes in the Sri Vaishnava Acharya Sampradaya. So this is again related to the Damodar Leela. It is about endeavor and faith. So here it is called as Markat Nyay and Marjal Nyay. So this is about one particular sect in Tamil Nadu where they worship the Lord, and their philosophy is, it is said that they believe that with endeavor, only with endeavor you can achieve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If you do not endeavor, if you do not put hard work, then you cannot depend on the mercy of the Lord. And it is compared to a baby monkey. Like a mother monkey carries the baby monkey, Markat Nyay. So then the mother will carry the baby monkey, but the baby monkey, what it has to do? It has to catch hold to its mother with the help of his two hands. So this particular group believes like this, and another group believes the philosophy of the baby kitten helplessly dependent on the mother cat who lifts the baby kitten by its mouth. So here, what do we need to practice? And from Damodar Leela, we learn that we have to depend on Krishna like the kitten, and at the same time we have to catch hold of Krishna's feet like the baby monkey. So a mixture and combination of both, with where we endeavor, and through that endeavor, that doesn't guarantee that Krishna is going to give us grace and mercy. It is nowhere written that if you do hard work, if you perform karma, that you are entitled to some, mercy. That is completely causeless, unalloyed mercy of the Lord. Unko dena hai, to wo denge. But at the same time, we learn that depend on the mercy of the Lord and also continue our two things, whatever bits and pieces that we can do. Now we come to the second part. Damodar also has another meaning. Damodar also means one who is achieved by self-restraint or sense control. So in the pastime of Nalakuver and Manigriv, we see that they were too much attached to sense gratification. And because of this sense gratification, Narad Muni actually cursed them and they became trees. So our fortune might not be as fortunate as Nalakuver Manigriv, although they committed this sin or they were not sense controlled, but they were still fortunate enough to be cursed by Narad Muni, and they took birth in the courtyard of Krishna and they were liberated by Krishna. But if you and me commit some sins or we are not that self-restrained or sense-controlled, Narad Muni is not going to come to curse us and then we benefit by Krishna delivering us. So sense control or sense gratification is one of the greatest obstacles in the life of a sadhaka. We have to be very, very careful about this particular activity. Also, it is the duty of a servant to engage his senses in the service of the master. Now, one of the senses is tongue. So if we can control our tongue, it is said that all our senses we can have control over. So there is a shloka which says there are 5 types of animals, and these 5 types of animals fall prey to one sense. And through one sense where they fall prey to, what happens? They actually lose their life. Like the kuranga or the deer, the urge of the ears, it falls prey to that urge of the ears and it dies. Then the elephant is there, the sense of touch. When the the he elephant goes behind the she elephant, with the sense of touch, it gets trapped and it may get killed. There is the story of the moth. When the moth goes in, the sense of sight, and it goes inside fire, the bulb, it burns and it dies. The bee, the sense of smell, it goes in the flower closes and it can die. And the fish, it goes behind the sense of taste, tongue. So this shloka tells us this particular fact that these animals, just they fell prey or victim to one sense object. What about man as an animal? We are actually, if you go to see, victim of all these 5 senses. And how difficult it will be for us, or how important it is for us to show self-control and practice sense control and self-restraint. Otherwise, from the life of these animals, we should take knowledge and be intelligent and learn that if losing one sense can be so hazardous to them, so when we are pulled by all sides from 5 angles and 5 senses, how much more diligent we should be and try to practice self-control and self-restraint. Ambarish Maharaj says, Savai Manna Krishna Padara Vindayor. So how do we practice self-restraint? Engage all our senses in the service of the Lord. Come to the temple or be at your house, offer something to the Lord, eat Mahaprasad, sing the glories of the Lord. With your feet, you can go to the holy places of the Lord, exercise your hands and feet, do some seva for the Lord. In this way, engage all your senses day in, day out, and Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. So the Lord says Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam, but the Lord is actually not hungry for Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. The Lord can take care of his needs and desires. But one of the reasons why this shloka is given is, it is a benediction and reason for us living entities to offer something to the Lord to engage our senses. It is said that Lord Krishna is very much enthusiastic to deliver the fallen souls, you and me, in this Kali Yuga, just like a father or a mother is as enthusiastic or more desirous for seeing the betterment of their children. More than their children might be, the father and mother take more pleasure when their child excels in certain things. Similarly, Krishna is our father and mother. And how much more eager Krishna must be to see that we all perfect our lives. How can we do this? Dadati prati granati. The nectar of instruction says, come together, have 6 loving exchanges, exchange prasad, have some good words of Krishna Katha, speak something, and in this way, these things become doable when we actually associate with each other. Otherwise, what do we stand to? Nalakuver and Manigriv, they lost the power of practicing bhakti. They actually fell down from their position. They lost the position of their demigod. They were demigods, they lost their position. So if we also do not practice sense control or self-restraint, today we might be in certain positions, we might be in certain stages of practicing bhakti. But sense control is very, very essential limb of devotional service that one needs to exhibit. Otherwise, it is said in Chanakya Niti that a king, if he needs to progress in his kingdom, he should have good spies, he should have wealth, and also he should practice self-restraint or sense control. And any person or a king who practices that, then his kingdom will prosper. There is a story of Brahma in this context, where one day Manavas, Devas and Daityas came, and then they were all having a lot of confusion and fighting with each other. They came to Brahma, and then Brahma, he was also sad seeing this particular situation. And to address this situation, what did Brahma do? He, in one thunderous sound, uttered the voice and this syllable Da. So what does this syllable Da indicate? Then all of them came separately to Brahma and said, please explain what does this mean for us. So first, the Devas came. So when the demigods came to Brahma, he said the word Da means Dama or Damyata. That means sense control. So they are in the heavenly kingdom, enjoying so many pleasure. So then when you practice sense control or self-restraint, then you can achieve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then the Manavas came, and then Brahma told them, the for you means Dan. So as human beings, as people, we have a tendency to store things, to accrue things, to save things. And Brahma teaches that for purifying and purificatory purposes and to achieve higher realms, we need to give charity. And then the Daityas or the demons came, and for them, the means Daya. So here Brahmaji tells the demons, because they are by nature, very, very demoniac. So then you have to exhibit Daya, compassion, and you can progress in that particular form. So similarly, we see in this Damodar Leela and Damodar Ashtakam also, we have this verse, Varam Deva Moksham Na Moksham Vadimva, where Satyavrut Mani, he prays that I am not aspiring for any kind of benediction, I am not aspiring for Vaikuntha Loka, I am not aspiring for any other thing. What am I aspiring? That particular form in Bal Gopal that you exhibited. That is the only anjan for me, just as in the Rudragrit, Lord Shiva prays that Sarvendriya Gunan Janan. So here we come to know that these great souls, they also can practice self-restraint. They are actually showing us how as sadhakas we can practice self-restraint by just taking darshan of the Lord, worshipping the Lord, coming together, associating, engaging our limbs in devotional service, and through this we can actually progress in devotional service, practice bhakti, and remember Krishna, never forget Krishna, and keep praying. So on this particular holy day, we take this opportunity to pray to Vishuddha Damodar, Radha Damodar, that they bestow their most munificent, merciful glances on us and always give us this particular intelligence to practice self-restraint and achieve Lord Damodar so that we achieve perfection. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Granthraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nithai Gaura Premanande.